to your reaching your dream, your living up to your greatness, your making your contribution is you. If the economy is good, fantastic. If the banks are loaning money, that's great. If people are positive, that's great. You don't have any opposition, that's great. But the major key to your making things happen in your life is you. When I wanted to get on public television, you know, they told me, you can't do that. So wait a minute, I've seen these other people on. It's possible I can get on. Leo Vizcaya, John Bradshaw, it's possible. Excuse me, hold on, time out. Let's be realistic. Come on, be logical. I said, well, wait a minute, why can't I do it? Let's look here. Think about guys who have credentials, all kind of credentials. You don't have any college training. They're not going to put you on television. Give me a break. I said, thank you for that. And went on about my business. You hear me? Let me tell you something. What people think about you and the possibilities for your dream is none of your business. That's their business. They have no imagination, ladies and gentlemen. They're living out of the past, out of their memory. Their attitude is it can't be done because they haven't seen it. They're judging according to appearances. The people that are going to make it in the future, the people that are making it today, let me share something with you. History is being read, but it's also being written by people with imagination. So I went to the next mode necessary to start talking to people and seeking and asking for what I wanted and leveraging relationships and trying to find out how do the people do it that went ahead of me? How do they do it? And then what is it I need to do? How is it I need to train myself, to develop myself? What's the resources that will be required in order to make it happen? And as I start seeking out and asking questions, I started running into people who said, I know someone who can help you do that. And they helped me get connected with those people. Remember, we have so much energy that can take us so far. It's necessary that you hook up with some other energy that can take you to the next level. I hooked up with them. They said, let's go. I said, away we go. It's necessary you take responsibility for it, that you make it happen, that you don't give up, that you don't take any objection or disappointment or defeats personally, that you keep on keeping on, that you don't decide that I can't make it because you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, that you realize that's a part of the program. And here's something you've got to resolve. Say this to yourself every day. See, as long as you're breathing, you got a shot at your dream. That's the way I resolve. Say this, please. It's not over. It's not over till I win. Not over till I get through. It's not over till I get over. Not over till I get what I want. Door can't open today, look out. I'm going to come back and take the hinges off. That's how you got to do that. You've got to have that kind of courage, that type of determination. If you want to make it happen, it's you. That you've got to take personal responsibility to make it happen. That you have got to own what it is that you want to do. If it's taking care of your well-being, if it's making a difference in our school system, if it's working with senior citizens, if it's to protect our ecology, if it's to create an economic renaissance, if it's just to take yourself to another level, it's you. You've got to make that happen. We can point out many things that can make it inconvenient or can slow us down, but ultimately, it's on us. Next step is, not only is it possible and necessary, and it's you to live your dream, to make this greatness that you have within you become a reality, but what I've come to appreciate when you're working on changing your life, changing some bad habit, getting out of addictive situations or relationships, or working to build a dream or making a difference in our society, or learning something that's very challenging. Here's what I realize, ladies and gentlemen, and develop a great deal of respect for. It's hard. Easy is not an option. It's hard living. Life is hard. See, it's hard when you are 49 years old, been working on a job for 17 years, and they come in and tell you you're finished and give you 1 week severance pay, and you got to start all over again. It's hard when you're married and raising children and your children are crawling and your husband dies unexpectedly. It's hard handling just the tragedies of life. It's hard when you're working on something and you put everything you have in it and it doesn't work out. You lose your money and other people's money. It's hard. It was rough when I lost my job and I could not find a job. It was humiliating and embarrassing, borrowing money And then I couldn't pay the money back when I told them I would. That's rough. How people look at you, how they respond to you. It's very hard. It's humiliating. Here's what I discovered that happens to you in life, that you will go through things, and while you're going through them, you can't understand why it's happening to you. But after you go through it and you get back and you look at it and you say, oh, now I understand why I needed that lesson. Have you ever happened to you? Raise your hand. Has it ever happened to you that I couldn't understand it then, but after I got through it, then I saw that that was preparing me for bigger and better things. That as you go through the challenges of life and you look at it and embrace whatever comes to you, don't run from it. Step toward it. Don't try and duck it like most people do. See, most people want it easy. See, easy come, easy what? Easy go. See, but when you go at what you're going to deal with and you deal with the difficulties of it, when you handle those hard things close at hand, making those hard decisions right now that you don't want to make, learning those things that you don't like to do, but you know that in order for you to get where you want to go, this is one of the hoops that you have to flip through. And I'm saying to you, whatever you got to do it, because if you don't, life is going to whoop you until you surrender and say, okay, all right, I cooperate, okay, I learned, okay. It had to wear me out a long time. So if it's hard, then do it hard. Now, how do you hang in there during the hard, difficult times? Les, you must have faith. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe in your abilities. You've got to believe in your service, your company, your ideas, unquestionably.
Sometimes you just have to believe in yourself. Nothing can be achieved until first it's believed. You have to believe it to see it. Sometimes the easiest way to get what you want is to just start, to just take that first step. You can do and be anything that you want, no matter what. No matter what you've been told and conditioned to think growing up. Start from today to believe that you can. We know what we want, but we don't do anything to actually go and get it. All the while that you're standing around waiting, doubting yourself, telling yourself you can't have this and you can't have that for whatever reason, you're never going to get it. Focus on how your life will be better and what your life will look like when you get what you want. Greatness isn't achieved by that one massive thing you do. It's those tiny little consistent baby steps we take every single day that add up to achieving that goal. Amazing things happen when you believe you have something. Your brain actively goes out to make it happen. Believe that you can do it and work hard to get it, and it's yours. We are all born with the same amount of time in a day. And anything that they can do, you can do too. If you want to do something bad enough, you can get it.
I need you to believe. Because I can be up here speaking and up here sweating and up here crying and pouring my heart out to you. But if you have the mindset like nothing is ever going to change. Like some of you, when they was doing that play and they was doing that skit, some of you felt it. Some of you was like, wow, they sharing my story. But there was still a little voice in the back of your mind that said, yeah, but that's not really going to change. Or yeah, it's easier said than done. No, listen to me. Hear me loud and clear. Your mindset, your belief system is everything. And it is so powerful. And so I came all the way from Atlanta, Georgia to tell you, you were not a mistake. You were not an accident. You were here for a reason. I know you're going through some hard times. I know life at times might feel rough or you might feel weird or things might be frustrating, but it's not going to always be like this. Your condition is not your conclusion. There is so much more that's going to take place. There is so much more power that's inside you. If you make up in your mind, I choose to believe that I can do great things. And I want you to seriously think about your life. Like, think about where you are internally. We have a group of people in here. Some of you, you're struggling yourself. Some of you are just trying to get by. You got so many pressures on you. You want to make your family proud. You know what I'm saying? You want to get good grades. You want to make people proud. But then you also have friends and you want to be cool in their eyes and you want to kind of fit in there. And then some of you are in a really weird place. You feel like people don't understand you. You feel like you're having a hard time to connect with people. When you wake up in the morning, you feel like you're in the slumps and you feel tired and drained. Like, I get it. I've got a message for you, right? The people, those of you that's looking for acceptance from others, you're going to have to make up in your mind and say, you know what, whether you accept me or not, I'm amazing, I'm smart, I'm beautiful, I'm talented. Because if not, if you live for their acceptance, you'll die from their rejection.
what I know now, that when you don't fit in, when they don't like you, when they don't respond to you, when you're on the outside of the curve, when they don't appoint you, pick you, vote for you, celebrate you, when you're not in it, I wish I knew then what I know now, that God does not want you to fit in. He doesn't want you to fit in, because if you fit in, when you get to the place where God is taking you, somebody will try to take credit for you getting where you are going. But God doesn't want to share his glory with anybody. He doesn't want nobody else to try to take credit. When you get to the place where God is going to take you, can't nobody get credit but Jesus himself.
What is rejection? What is rejection? Rejection can be defined as the sense of being unwanted. You want people in your life to love you, but you believe for whatever reason that they do not, nor will they ever. You never, maybe you didn't feel the love of your mother. She was always there, but always interested in something else. Or maybe you never felt the acceptance from your father. He gave you his name, he gave you a place to live, he gave you food to eat, but he never gave you his time. He never gave you his interest. He never gave you himself, because he was always interested in something else. He was an absentee father. Reason some of you feel rejection is that you were in a storm with your husband or your wife who betrayed your wedding vows, who was unfaithful to you. They left you for someone else. It is a deep wound in your soul that has never healed. Divorce was bitter. Divorce was vicious. It left you with a wounded spirit. Some of you feel rejection and resentment because you were passed over for a promotion at your job, or your business partner destroyed your business through deception. You do not know the anguish, the heartache, the horror that a person sitting next to you has been going through, or the person sitting in front of you, or the person sitting behind you. You do not know the anguish of their heart, the torment of their mind, the tears that have ripped down their cheeks and fallen into their pillows because of the desperation of their soul.
The Bible says that God gives us beauty for ashes, that he heals the brokenhearted.
Now, here's the next important part, and that's emotions. Human emotions are powerful. They are so powerful that any one of them can have a dramatic effect on your life in a single day. However, make this careful note. Emotions are tricky. They can go either way on you. Emotions can build or destroy, weaken or strengthen, make or break. It all depends on how you use them. We call civilization the intelligent management of human emotion. That's it. The power, given an intelligent direction and objective, can accomplish spectacular things. The power, the feelings, those surges of heart and soul. What are they? What can they do? Well, here are some. First, disgust. Disgust is a powerful emotion. Disgust says, I have had it. Hey, that could be the day that turns your life around. That's what I said the day that little Girl Scout came to my door. I give her the big lie, she leaves, and I say to myself, I don't want to live like this anymore. I've had it with being broke. I've had it with being embarrassed, and I've had it with lying. What a day. A life-changing day. The day when you've had it. And whether it's something major or something small, the day you can say enough is enough. That could be the life-changing day. The man has finally had it with being a loser. He's had it with mediocrity. He's had it with those awful sick feelings inside. Knowing his wife is at the grocery store looking at 2 cans of beans, one marked 69 cents and one marked 67 cents. The man knows his wife is going to buy the 67-cent can, and she doesn't even like the brand. Know why she's going to buy the 67-cent can? To save 2 cents. The man sick inside says, I've had it with being on my knees in the dust looking for pennies. We are not living like this anymore. Look out. That's the day. The I've had it day. The never again day. The enough is enough day. Powerful. Hey, nothing is so life-changing as a powerful disgust. And there's probably nothing so pitiful as a mild disgust. The man says, I kind of think I've had it. How sad. not powerful enough for life change. Now here's the second emotion, decision. Decision making is emotional. Those knots in the pit of your stomach, waking up in the middle of the night, lying there in a cold sweat, trying to decide. We sometimes call it inner civil war, conflict, battle of the mind, heart, and soul. It's emotional, it's powerful, and critical. It sets the course or blinds the course. It sets the mind or leaves us helpless, drifting, not being able to make up our mind. Well, for progress, we must decide. Come to grips with the surges, the tides, the conflict. The best advice I can give you is, if it's easy, do it easy. If it's hard, do it hard. Just get it done. If after listening to this program you cleaned up a whole list of decisions, that might furnish enough inspiration for the next 10 years. And I might add, sometimes getting on with it is easier than deciding. Sometimes deciding is the toughest part. But once you have waded those waters, you can climb the mountain. Deciding is truly the day that turns your life around.
See, the more you give to life, the more you're able to get from life. See, most of us go through life, ladies and gentlemen, feeling that we don't have enough to share, feeling that we will be depleted if we give of our resources, because we don't see ourselves connected to the abundance of life. I feel very strongly that we can make an incredible difference in life. Phyllis Marx said, giving empowers you because taken to its ultimate, what you are really giving is love. Love is the motivating force behind the infinite supply of universal energy. Love truly makes the world go round. And as with anything circular, it's keep coming back. Phyllis is right. So as she continues to give love and hope to these people, she receives love and hope for herself, and helping to begin to restructure and redesign the kind of life that she wants. We all have had experiences in our lives that if we permit these experiences to do so, we will allow them to weigh us down. If we permit them to do so, they will be luggage that will be dragging through life, holding us down, stifling our potential to give and to contribute in life. If we continue to carry all of these things, we can never be open to the love and the abundance and the opportunity that life has to offer us, because we are so full with what we've got. I'm thinking about an exhibition that was held in Africa where they were trying to catch some monkeys that were a very rare species. And because they were so fast, so agile, and very fragile, they did not want to harm them in catching them. They did not want to hurt them physically. So what they did in order to catch them, they found that these monkeys were very fond of a certain kind of nut that grew in that particular area of Africa. And what they did was that they put these nuts inside of bottles and put a rope on the bottle and held the rope from a distance. And so the monkeys would come and, being curious, see the nuts inside the bottle, would reach in and pick the nuts up. Now, what happened was that they couldn't pull their hands out with the nuts still in the bottle. And so then the exhibitioners, the hunters, would come while the monkeys are there just jumping around. All they have to do now is let the nuts go. That's all they got to do, is just let, they're just dancing all around. All they have to do is let it go, and they can be free and run. They hold it on to the nuts, and the people come and catch them. And a lot of us, that life is kicking our butt, and all we have to do is let it go. We just keep holding on like we crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, giving creates energy in ourselves and in others. Have you ever helped a blind person go across the street, or help a senior citizen, or give somebody some help? Held the door for somebody, an elevator. I mean, don't you have a good feeling inside, like, I done good? How many of you get a good feeling inside when you do something good for somebody? See, we're really giving to ourselves. See, that's really the law. When you are giving to yourself. That's who you're giving to. So you want to give yourself some good gifts. There's a principle underlying the concept of giving. The energy flowing through us as we do, that love generates abundance in our lives, and we are able to reap so much from life as a result of our giving. How are you giving up your life?
When God said enough, I checked it on my watch, and I saw that God had a time to bring me out of my weeping. God has a time already set aside. Didn't you hear the bell ring? Did you not hear that alarm go off? Did you not hear that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes bing in the morning? Do you not know that God has a wind God had a point in their suffering in Babylonian captivity that God said, that's enough. I let you be drug out of your own land. I let you be drugged down and shackled like animals. I let your men be castrated and your men be raped, your women be raped, and I let you weep by the willow trees, and I did nothing to stop it, but I did keep my eye on the watch. And when the Lord turned again our captivity, the writer here, when he writes about the Lord turning our captivity, he does not have access to all the things that God had to do to turn their captivity around. The fall of Babylon denotes the end of the Neo-Babylonian Empire. After it was conquered by the Archemenian Empire, it was conquered. Wait, I want you to see this. The people who conquered Jerusalem got conquered. See, the Archimedes were Persians. They were nomadic Persians that after 70 years of Babylonian captivity, they came in and conquered the conquerors. See, sometimes God's got you on hold because he's getting another group ready to come in and deal with your enemies. God has a way of getting justice out of the chaos in your life. And the Babylonians were sitting around bragging and poking fun and telling them to sing and dance for us. And while they were playing with them, God was raising up the Persians to overthrow their empire. In 539 BC, God said, enough. And all of a sudden, everything began to change. And God used a young man who was the son of a princess to come in. The young man was Labashai Marduk. And he comes in, and God uses him to wreak havoc. And the Babylonians who thought they couldn't be brought down, got brought down. Listen, America, be very careful. The Babylonian Empire came down. The Roman Empire came down. The Kushite Empire came down. Don't you get high-minded and think that we cannot come down. We got to be careful what we let go on and what we let happen in this country, because it is possible. History teaches us that kingdoms fall. Nations fall. Empires crush. The Babylonians thought they couldn't be taken. They thought they were bad, but the Persians came up and they brought the whole empire down. Babylon, not Babylon. Babylon's name goes back to the Tower of Babel, but God still brought them down. Not Babylon. Babylon comes out of the Old Testament, Mesopotamia. The new word we would have would be Iraq. Not them, but God brought them down.
You cannot give up because it ain't what you see. You cannot give up. What you got to do is, you heard it, you read it. I sent it out on Twitter. I told you, champions keep going when they don't have anything left in their tank. I'm obsessed with improvement. Every day I'm getting better. There are those of you with phones, and every new phone that comes out, you get it. Every upgrade, you get it. Every piece of software, you get it. You are upgrading your technology, and you've not upgraded yourself. That's the difference between the greats. That's what separates them. When they don't have no more, when it's over, when they're tired, when they're frustrated, when they're ready to give up, when they spent their last dime, that's when they get started. I want to be a millionaire. I want to be the best at this company, right? But your value system says you believe in sleep more than you believe in grinding. Your value system says you are a consumer and not a producer. Listen to me, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, when you ain't got nothing left in your tank, you got to think about the people in your life that you're doing this for. And then if you could think about them, you could go one more mile. You could go one more day at work. You can find a scholarship. Listen to me, when you're doing it for somebody else, when you like that lion, if I don't grind, if we don't grind, if I don't grind, they don't eat. The truth is, you got to find something within. You got to find something within, and that's got to push you, and that's got to elevate you, and that's got to drive you, and that's got to move you. And when you find out what your why is, and your why got to be deeper than you, when you find your why, you don't hit snooze no more. When you find your why, you find a way to make it happen. It's when you have nothing left. It's when you depleted all your money, when all your energy gone, when you have nothing left, that's when it's showtime. When you find a way out of no way, when you find breath that you don't have, when you find energy that did not exist, when you want this thing as bad as you want to breathe, that's when you find a way.
Everybody is never going to be where they want to be in life because sometimes they focus too much on the bad things and not claiming the good times. Not claiming, hey, no matter what struggle I go through, I am going to make it. The beauty about the process is that you're learning something. You're learning about yourself. You're learning how to go through certain things. And you're learning how to build up. We are human beings, and human beings sometimes act on emotions. But you have to harness your emotions. You have to understand that you got to go through something to get to the level that you want in your life. Make this day count. Put all your energy, put all your power into what you do today. You got to keep moving forward. You got to keep fighting for it. You got to keep trusting in yourself. You got to keep pushing because you got unfinished business. If you do not hold on to the goodness within you, then all the bad things that are surrounding you right now will ultimately destroy your possibilities and taking yourself further in your life. Don't you realize that you got to have faith in yourself every single day of your life? Maybe you did get rejected. That doesn't mean that you're out the game. That doesn't mean that it's over. You got to keep moving on. Take the steps. Maybe take a few steps back, analyze the situation, and then keep pushing, keep going. Stay hungry and believe. Just keep on grinding. Yeah, it's gonna hurt, but keep on grinding. You're gonna have those bad days, but keep on grinding. You're gonna wanna quit, but keep on grinding. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very important part of your life. It is a decision that you have to make within yourself. No one is responsible for that.
Now, I'm not telling you to not acknowledge your pain. I'm not saying that. I'm not telling you not to say, man, I'm going through this and it's hard. I'm not saying that. I'm saying when you go through it, look at it, step back from the picture and say, okay, I'm dealing with this. 9 out of 10 times, there's somebody else that's either dealt with it or they're going to deal with something similar to this. And if I deal with it in the right way, I can use it to add value to lives of other people. The funny thing was, I had never heard of the injury that I suffered. Never heard of it. When I went through it, I met probably 10 guys years after that had been going through it, that I could talk to at different stages and phases in the process and say, hey man, Ink, how did you deal with this? How did you deal with this? When they told you this, how did you accept that? And I was like, bingo, this is how I got through it. But I had to shift my perspective from why me to why not me? Can you take the things you learned that made you great in that sport and apply them to other areas and aspects of your life to make you just as great as a person? Man, it's funny. I think the true measure of wealth is happiness, right? Like I really do. And that's not saying that I'm against money. I'm not against that at all. Because you gotta work hard, make your money to take care of your family and be able to bless people. But I think it's a lot of people with so-called wealth and they don't have joy and they don't have happiness, right? And I feel like joy, happiness is peace is the most important things we can possess, right? And for most people, their material possessions, they feel are the most important. For me, when you got joy, when you got peace, when you got happiness, I think that's true wealth because you can't put a price on that. Like for me, people can't understand. A guy asked me just yesterday, what do you think about stem cell? Why don't you go over to London or one of these places somewhere and try to get stem cell for your arm? And I was like, I got peace. And he's like, what does that mean? I was like, I'm good with my situation, right? Like I'm wealthy because of that. I got something that you can't put a price on, right? You can't price out my joy. You can't price out my happiness. You can't price out my peace. Now, if I measure wealth by money, money is a number. Numbers never end, right? So you never catch it. Numbers never stop. If your happiness is predicated upon a number, if you're being wealthy is predicated upon a number, you'll get it. Then it's like, okay, I gotta set it a little bit higher. The number will never end. And so therefore, you'll never be wealthy enough.
How bad do you want it? The dreams God has placed in your heart, the promises He's spoken to you are not going to come to pass without opposition, without delays, without people trying to talk you out of it. There will be plenty of opportunities to get discouraged, to lose your passion and think that it's not meant to be. But if you're going to reach your destiny, you have to have a made-up mind. If you give up after the first time or the 5th time or the 30th time, what that really means is you didn't want it bad enough. There should be something you're believing for that you are relentless. You are not moved by how impossible it looks. You're not discouraged by how long it's taking. You don't give up because people told you no. Your attitude is, if I have to believe my whole life, I am not going to stop believing. I am not going to take no for an answer. I'm not going to settle for mediocrity. I'm going to keep pursuing what God put in my heart. You can't be passive and indifferent. You have to have a holy determination. It's more than just your will. It's a fire on the inside, a knowing that it's supposed to be yours. When everything says it's not going to happen, instead of getting discouraged, you kick in to a new gear. Normal people would give up. Normal people would settle, but you're not normal. You want it on another level. When David was 17 years old, the prophet Samuel anointed him as the next king of Israel. But David didn't go to the palace. He went back to the shepherd's fields where it was lonely. He was overlooked, mistreated by his family. When he finally did go to the palace to serve King Saul, Saul became jealous of David and tried to kill him. David had done no wrong, yet he had to live on the run, hiding in caves, spending months out in the desert. He could have been discouraged, thought, God, this isn't fair. You anointed me to be king. Nothing is working out. But David didn't have a give-up spirit. He didn't feel sorry for himself. He didn't let circumstances talk him out of it. He had a warrior mentality. His attitude was, I am not quitting. I am not settling for mediocrity. I know there is greatness in me. I'm going to become who God says I am. One reason he took the throne is he wanted it bad enough. How bad do you want what God has put in your heart?
I look at myself every day and I always come back to the conclusion, I can't be like everybody else.
Every time you break, and in every way that you break, while it's a chance, it's definitely a chance for you to give up and for you to just to fall apart.
Man, I remember I was stripped of everything I owned, from apartments to cars. Everything I came in contact with, I was stripped of. But all through them storms, them trials and them tribulations, I began to soar like an eagle. See?
Your results will turn those who ignored you into fame. Let your results speak louder than your voice. Can you hide yourself in the library? Can you hide yourself in the gym? Can you? Hide yourself in the boardroom and plan and do what's required behind the scenes. In order to manifest the moment, there are many people out there in the world that don't have the capabilities. They have to carry on the good fight.
I don't want to be like everybody else. I never said that I was the best, but I'm going to be the best of myself. I'm going to be good within myself. I'm going to learn within myself. I'm going to seek everything that I need within myself. And I may not have everyone celebrating with me. Everybody's not going to clap for me. But I have to have the ability to celebrate for myself. I don't need to be a part of a crowd to feel good about who I am inside. You don't need to be a part of a crowd to know who you are inside. Because everything that everybody else is doing doesn't necessarily mean that it's good for you.
All the hotels and plane rides, all of the audiences I spoke to, all of the money that I missed out on because I didn't know that I didn't know, and I thought I knew. I was a big fish in a small pond. I can't tell you, if you don't get anything else, you have to look at your relationships and you've got to ask yourself the question, what is this relationship doing to me? And I mean in every area of your life. When the doctor looked at me and said, you have cancer. Cancer is the most feared word in 7 different languages. One of the first things I had to do, I found out who had cancer at some point in time or was living with cancer and conquered it. I surrounded myself with people who had done what I wanted to do, who were winning at the game. See, it's very important, every area of your life. If you want to improve your health, start hanging around healthy people. They did a 30-year study.
You don't need to be like everybody else, but you need to be the best of yourself. Be able to feel good about who you are, what you are, and what you are ultimately made of. Because without that, how far are you willing to go? Don't sacrifice yourself to please others. Don't give all of your energy to people who really don't care about you. Make sure you understand the significance and how you go about your life.
Why do you feel that you need to be a part of a group or some kind of an organization to feel important? Do you feel that it's necessary for you to stand out because you're a part of a group?
And said that the reason that most people are obese, it's a mind virus. Listen to what they said. A mind virus is communicated mind to mind. That if you have a friend that's fat or you marry somebody that's obese, you have a 41% to up to 161% of becoming obese yourself. Even if they live in another state. Whoa, why? Because birds of a feather flock together. Never forget, high school teacher Mr. Leroy Washington said, Mr. Brown, if you run around with 9 broke people, I guarantee you, you'll become number 10. Whoa. Think about that. Part of your mindset development, not only listening, not only reading, but you have got to look at your relationships, upgrade your relationships, and continue to evaluate them and make sure they're an asset to you and not a liability. My son John Leslie is a motivational speaker. He has a saying, who should you count on and who should you count out?
There are things that are happening around us every day. The things that are happening to us right now happens for a reason. What you are going through right now, someone else is going through it in a different manner. But we always ask the question, why me? Why is this happening to me? Everybody wants destiny. Everybody wants manifestation.
But there's also opportunity. There's opportunity to get stronger, and get smarter, and get faster, and get tougher, and get more stable, and get more resilient, and get better. When you break, you have the opportunity to show the world, the whole world, what you are really made of. So if you break, if you break.
The eagle is one of the only birds that when a storm is coming, he doesn't fly away, but he flies into the storm. And he uses the pressures of the storm to soar with using very little energy to soar above the storm to rise to an atmosphere of peace and security. Don't you want to soar? How would you use the storm to rise, to elevate? How would you use the storm to soar above everybody that told you you couldn't do what you're doing? And what drives you?
Everybody wants fulfillment. Everybody wants the next level and relationship and a higher quality of living. But nobody wants to eliminate distractions. Nobody wants to disappear for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, and then eliminate all distractions. Get into a place where you can focus on just you. What if you could just shut out every distraction? What if you could just shut out the world for just a season and focus on you? Winning requires focus.
The fight isn't over. In fact, if you break, the fight is just beginning. As you rise above what you were, and as you take the form of who you are supposed to be, you will see that in the very act of standing up, in the very act of fighting on, you will become and you will remain unbroken.
I'm about doing permanent fixes so then you can move on. Be proud of the small steps that you take along the journeys. Be proud of the fact that you're moving forward and not moving back.
Because it don't matter how hard you go, when you're on a journey to go get what's yours, you will be knocked down. And I hope it's the faith that gives you the unwavering conviction, the courage, the dedication, what you sacrificing. Because being physically committed to the process without being emotionally attached to the outcomes is flying into the storm and asking yourself, what can I extract from this storm to soar, to rise to an atmosphere of peace and security?